Continuation with the Manga Guide to Statistics by Shin, Takahashi. I continue. So here in the comic, it's about mean averages, and they're taking a coffee break and talking. And Rui says, the other day I went bowling with all the girls in my homeroom class. So the teacher takes out a pen and says, hey, did you knock over any pins? To which she responds angrily, what? I'll knock you over, you pinhead, she says. I'm good at bowling. So he says, just kidding. So that's Yamamoto, who works under her father, who's come here to help her with her learning statistics because she wanted to learn that to impress Igarashi. So he says, all the girls in your homeroom class, that must be a lot. So she says, well, there were 18 of us, so we formed 3 teams of 6 and played one game. So A, B and C, 6 each. And she shows the scorecards. She says, these are the scorecards. So Mr. Yamamoto is very pleased because he says, oh, this is good material for today's class. So the results of bowling tournament, he puts it as that. Team A has 6, in which Rui has 86, June has 73, Yumi has 124, Shizuka has 111, Toko has 90 and KD has 38. And Team B, the players are Kimiko, Megumi, Yoshimi, Mi, Kaori, Yukiko, and the scores are 84, 71, 103, 95, 90, 85, 90, 89 respectively. And Team C is Shinobu, Yuka, Sakura, Kanako, Kumiko, Hirono, and the scores are 229, 77, 59, 95, 70, 88 respectively. So he says, is this your Rui Rui is your nickname? Is this you, Rui Rui? Is that your nickname? Yes, they call me Rui Rui and I scored 86. So he says, roughly speaking, your score seems to be around the average for your team. She's a little upset, says, so what? Do you understand that the average is a score we can expect a person on your team to receive? Of course I do. The average is the middle score of a team, she says. If I'm above average, then she cheers up and she says, okay, if I'm above average, you have to buy me a piece of cake. So he says, I have to think about that. Why don't we try calculating the average? He says, okay, let's just work out the average and see. So he talks. Since the game was played between teams, I guess you compared the sum of the scores of each team. So she says, exactly. So he says, you get the average by dividing the sum of the scores by the number of team members. So then he's working out. Say, for example, he says, Team A, 86 plus 73 plus 124 plus 111 plus 90 plus 38 divided by 6. So sum is 522 divided by 6 is equal to 87 is the mean or the average. Then he works out the average for Team B. That would be the sum of the total score divided by 6. So 84 plus 71 plus 103 plus 85 plus 90 plus 89 divided by 6. That also works out to be 522 divided by 6 is equal to 87. So on with the Team C. So he takes all the scores of all the 6 teammates, and he gets the sum is 618 divided by 6 is equal to 103. So she says, Team C is so strong. So Mr. Yamamoto says, thus your team's average is 87 And Rui Rui's score was 86. So she still sticks to her piece of cake and says, "Would you buy me a piece of cake?" He says, "Why? Now that your score is less than average." She's a little upset and says, "You have no right to call me Rui Rui." So he says, "Don't be so angry. Instead of buying you a cake, I'll give you a small tip." "What's that?" "The average is called the mean in statistics," he says. So you are learning statistics. So we don't call average, we call it mean. And the mean we were talking about just now is something called the arithmetic mean, to be precise. And he says there are other types of mean, such as geometric mean and harmonic mean. You do not have to learn the formulas now, but I suggest you remember these names. So in geometric mean, this is the formula, which means n means total number, that is 6, right? And under root, you have whatever, like for example, remember the scores like 86 plus 73 plus 124 plus 111 plus 90 plus 38, okay, and total number under root. So he said, and harmonic mean again is, the formula is 1 divided by 1 upon x1, that is again the values, 86 score plus 1 upon 76 plus 1 upon 24 plus 1 upon 111 plus 1 upon 90 plus 1 upon 38 divided by the total number, that is 6. So that is the harmonic mean. Okay, and so when you do the formula, it is n under root x1 plus x1 into x2 into, and it goes on till the last number. And harmonic mean, it is 1 upon x1 plus 1 upon x2 plus 1 upon x3, etc. to the last number divided by n. So she says, "Too bad this tip is not as delicious as cake." So he just smiles and says, "Oh well." Continuing on with averages, he comes up with median. Now back to the scorecard. "What is it this time?" she asks. "Let's ignore teams A and B for now and look at team C." So he says, let's just talk about C now. Okay, so he wants her to find out what is a median. So he says, we'll ignore 1 and 2. Let's just talk about 3. Here, I don't think you can really say that the average is roughly the score of each person, because there's a wide variety. It's like 229 and the least is 59. So he says, that's why. So she says, "I agree, the average is above 100, but 5 people scored below 100. So he says, in cases like this, when there is a value that is extremely large or small, it is more appropriate to use the median instead of the mean." Median? So she wants to know, what is this median? So he says, the median is the value that comes in the middle when you put the values in order from the smallest to the largest. So what he has done for team A, he has taken the smallest score was 38, then the next was 73, then 86, 90, 111, 124. He's rearranged them. So he's done it for all 3. Okay. So then it's important to arrange the numbers. And once you arrange the numbers, then the formula is the total number of values plus 1 divided by 2, because median separates or demarcates the values into 2 parts. The average is there in the middle, so there are values which are below them and there are values which are above them. So that is what it is. So suppose if the number of values is equal to odd, that is n plus 1 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1 divided by 2 will give you the 6. So what is this? Third value, right? So this is like n plus 1 divided by 2. So what is n? 5 plus 1, fifth value plus 1 more divided by 2. So what is this? 6 by 2 is 3. So third value is the median. So here just take it that the third value is the median, and if the number of values is even, for example, if there are 6 values here, then what do? Then what happens is 6 plus 1 divided by 2, what happens is, so 7 by 2, so it is 3.5. So you take the third value plus the next value divided by 2. So median is the average of these two. So if the number of values is odd, the score that is in the middle is the median. If the number of values is even, as in the case of this bowling game, the average of the two values in the middle is the median. Can you calculate the median of team C? So she does that. She says it's 77 plus 88 divided by 2, that is equal to 85.5. And let me just show it to you. Yeah. So he asks her to calculate for C, and she does that because there are 6 values. So it becomes n plus 1 divided by 2, that is 3.5. So third value plus the next value divided by 2. So it is 77 plus 88 divided by 2 is 82.5. So he's happy that she's understood, and these are the team C's scores, and that's how they've done it. Okay, so 77 plus 88 divided by 2. Now again he talks practically. He says one more tip in regard to averages. Another tip instead of cake, she says. True, you can't eat a tip, but this is as good as a cake, she says. He says, are you saving any money? She says, yes, I am. Though the total of my account is still less than 10,000 yens. So that is less than $100. But she has this idea of getting married to this person here. So then you must wonder why the average savings reported in the newspapers and on TV news is so high. He says when you listen to the other averages, it's much beyond that. She says, yes, I do. My savings don't come close, and even my dad does not seem to be that rich when we are thinking of this. So he says the average is high because of some millionaires. You need not be disappointed because your saving is much less than the average. So she thinks, she's not thinking, she's thinking about all this. In such cases, the median is much closer to common people, he says. So he asks, are you listening? Millionaires. So then she's very happy. She says, I must marry a rich guy whose savings is way higher than the median. So he says, you dampen my spirits, just to be comical. So in the next class, we'll be doing dispersion, that is standard deviation. And if you just go through my lectures or teachings, which I've done earlier, we've done all of this from the text statistics textbook. So only thing, this is a comic and it's so enjoyable, and that's why I took upon myself to just teach you through this, where the ISBN number is 978-1-59327-189-3, and this is the back cover of the book, the comic. So they have a lot of manga guides to all kinds of learning. They're really interesting books. So Manga Guide to Statistics by Shin Takahashi.